Hello again, and a very warm welcome back. Today we're going to Germany, a company called Adox. If you're a film shooter or work with darkroom chemicals or photographic papers, you'll be well aware of the name. But in the past, they've made cameras, and they are another one of these companies that's been around a lot longer than you'd think. Originally started in 1860, but we're not going back that far. We're going to 1960, so 100 years after the launch of the company. And this is the Adox Polomat 1. So they launched in 1960. There was a couple of revised versions of it before it ceased production in 1965, I do believe. It's not a rangefinder camera, it's a zone focus camera, so it'd be pretty good for street photography. It's quite an attractive thing. It's got this sort of nice sculpture. This is a metal base down here. There is quite a bit of plastic in the construction, but yeah, the important bits are metal. You can see it's a leaf shutter on the Pronto LK. Shutter in it, selenium cells. So it does have a built-in meter. And it is actually coupled as well, which is kind of interesting. You can see there, if I move, this is the shutter speed dial. I move that, the needle moves, and you can see that the cells are actually working. That's the advantage of keeping it in a case, part of the reason why I do keep it in the case. And then we also have the aperture ring at the back here, which again is coupled. So it's a coupled meter. No batteries required, of course, with selenium cells. They are solar powered, but it's best to keep them in the dark when they're not being used. So you can see apertures from f2.8 all the way down to 22. It has this usual sort of system whereby you can zone focus. Shutter speeds 500 all the way down to B, and your focusing is here on the front. And it focuses down to 1 meter. It's pretty standard, sort of 3 feet through to infinity. And it has got a depth of field scale on here, so they're saying use f8. And there are different sort of places that you can focus. You can see there's infinity, so if you put infinity at f8, everything from roughly 3 meters, I guess 10 feet away, to infinity will be in focus. So for street photography, quite handy. This is a Schneider, I can never pronounce that word, Krashnak, Radeon RL 2.8 45mm, again nice focal length. This one's unusual, in quite good condition actually, because it's still got this Adox badge. This is normally missing on a lot of these. Flash sync, leaf shutter, so it'll sync X at all speeds. Self timer, usual standard, pull it across, clockwork. And then to set the film speed, you'll see around this collar there is, I think this is I'll focus for you. There's an ASA setting, and you can adjust this by pushing in a little lever here. It's just for setting your film sensitivity. So you've got ASA, and being German, I would have thought you'd have had DIN on it as well. Yeah, of course you have. There you go, DIN. So that's where you would set your film speed, focus, shutter speed, aperture. 500 is quite useful. Film advance on the back plus the viewfinder. This one's a bit milky and foggy. It does have frame lines. It's not a rangefinder, like I said before. Film advance, nice. Shutter release. We'll listen and see how quiet it actually is. In a normal environment, you'd have a job to tell that the meter's actually fired. Very, very discreet. Frame counter is a subtractive type. So when you load your film, you've got to set this to the number of exposures that you started with. And it gives you 2 extra. So if you set 36, it actually starts at 38. There. And then every time you make an exposure, it counts down, so you know how many you've got left rather than how many you've taken. Cold shoe, a film reminder tab, so you can set your speed on the top there. This is your rewind, pretty standard 35mm. To get into the back, there's a catch. Opens up the back. You can see they're recommending their own brand of film. Pressure plate. There you go, Polomat one. This is just like most other 35mm cameras. You can use this to rewind your film back into the cassette. I'm assuming that's got a pop-up actually, yeah, it has to. This is metal inside. Sprockets are plastic. You can see leaf shutter. No focal plane shutters. Take-up spool. Usual slotted variety. Quite small and light, quite well made. Quite a nice little camera actually. On the bottom, tripod bush, which is actually in the centre of the lens, and the usual push to rewind the film button on the bottom. So yeah, all in all, a very nice little quiet discreet camera. I think it'd be great for street photography. Quite stylish, quite retro. Well made, still working. This one's still working. The cells is the thing that you've got to watch out for, but then of course you can use an app on your phone or a handheld meter. But it's quite nice to have them when they actually work. And all you do is you just adjust until you line up with the meter, and that's your settings. Very simple, very straightforward. It's quite nice having this big scale on the top here. Yeah, I quite like that. Yep, they don't make cameras anymore. They haven't made cameras since I think about 1967. They had quite an interesting history, the company, Adox. They're in the same family for 100 years on and off, and of course now, you know, they're quite well known. They're using the Cybergeige in Ilford plant in Switzerland to make papers, films, etc. But yeah, another one of those old names that you probably never heard of or never knew very much about. But yeah, been around since the dawn of photography. There's your video for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Comments, questions, queries, corrections, etc. as usual in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and all that usual good YouTubery sort of stuff. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.